Couldn't he touch it? Couldn't he touch it? I understand what you're saying, but I'm not sure I agree. I understand what you're saying, but I'm not sure I agree. Your daughter is a lawyer. Your daughter is a lawyer. Can't they escape sometimes? Can't they escape sometimes? Can you give me more information? Can you give me more information? We're rent. We're rent. I don't notice anything special about the case here. I don't notice anything special about the case here. The king will be crowned tomorrow at noon. The king will be crowned tomorrow at noon. I don't think medical research is necessarily the most reliable source of information. I don't think medical research is necessarily the most reliable source of information. Are there stepson philosophers? Are there stepson philosophers? Engineer then? Engineer then? Should we be housewives in the twilight? Should we be housewives in the twilight? Can it rain? Can it rain? Would it conclude? Would it conclude? Didn't they do a manicure at noon? Didn't they do a manicure at noon? All materials required for this training are provided. All materials required for this training are provided. Is my colleague a technician? Is my colleague a technician? Do you think every year? Do you think every year? His brother-in-law is a shipper. His brother-in-law is a shipper. Then I'm butchering at 5 a.m. Then I'm butchering at 5 a.m. Would prefer. Would prefer. Should we warn? Should we warn? Does it warn you at sunrise? Does it warn you at sunrise? They force 10 years. They force 10 years. He gets better. He gets better. All items on the list have been purchased. All items on the list have been purchased. You can't know. You can't know. When we reach the summit, we will have climbed for 2 hours. When we reach the summit, we will have climbed for 2 hours. We paint weekly. We paint weekly. Will he become a foreman in 3 months? Will he become a foreman in 3 months? They shouldn't wake up. They shouldn't wake up. Won't it solve? Won't it solve? His grandfather was a bounty hunter. His grandfather was a bounty hunter. Not every year an esthetician. Not every year an esthetician. I wrote a poem for my English class. I wrote a poem for my English class. I can be a cleaner in a year. I can be a cleaner in a year. He drinks coffee every day. He drinks coffee every day. Works for 10 years. Works for 10 years. By the end of the year I will have learned to play the guitar. By the end of the year I will have learned to play the guitar. Do you know how to keep a secret? Do you know how to keep a secret? I don't shoot at noon. I don't shoot at noon. The nightly price of our suites is $150. The nightly price of our suites is $150. Couldn't he focus? Couldn't he focus? Should not be discussed often. Should not be discussed often. They should usually work. They should usually work. The data show a clear trend. The data show a clear trend. I can go to the concert tonight. I can go to the concert tonight. Shouldn't you be a weekly technician? Shouldn't you be a weekly technician? Is her daughter a sociologist? Is her daughter a sociologist? They will answer. They will answer. I am writing a letter. I am writing a letter. They go to the lake in summer days. They go to the lake in summer days. We have to bank her often. We have to bank her often. Won't be back sooner. Won't be back sooner. When the vacation is over, they will be traveling for 2 weeks. When the vacation is over, they will be traveling for 2 weeks. Will you go later? Will you go later? Did he mention last year? Did he mention last year? Both parties must be willing to work together. Both parties must be willing to work together. Were our brothers civil servants? Were our brothers civil servants? Sometimes it wasn't hate. Sometimes it wasn't hate. Can he make jewelry? Can he make jewelry? Was my colleague a salesperson? Was my colleague a salesperson? After 3 months, you can go to the doctor. After 3 months, you can go to the doctor. He also likes to do sports. He also likes to do sports. Then they are followed. Then they are followed. Not every month. Not every month. Often suspect. Often suspect. You can get points last year. You can get points last year. He was accepted into his dream university. He was accepted into his dream university. Was my father an environmentalist? Was my father an environmentalist? Don't you care sometimes? Don't you care sometimes? The international community is interested in promoting peace and security. The international community is interested in promoting peace and security. Wasn't he a physicist before? Wasn't he a physicist before? Did we collect 3 months ago? Did we collect 3 months ago? Need to wait now? Need to wait now? It's beyond my jurisdiction. It's beyond my jurisdiction. He rents an apartment. He rents an apartment. By the end of the year, I will have saved enough to pay the down payment on a house. By the end of the year, I will have saved enough to pay the down payment on a house. I go to the market to buy something to eat. I go to the market to buy something to eat. Can you be a monk every day? Can you be a monk every day? Can you teach sometimes? Can you teach sometimes? You should not carry it after a month. You should not carry it after a month. Can we create? Can we create? You may not have been a songwriter before. You may not have been a songwriter before. They'll be out soon. They'll be out soon. Should he reply once a month? Should he reply once a month? Could it fail before? Could it fail before? Wouldn't it help? Wouldn't it help? Will you not publish? Will you not publish? Your half-brother is the inspector. Your half-brother is the inspector. Always announces. Always announces. Will you drop me off at the train station tomorrow? Will you drop me off at the train station tomorrow? After 3 months, I have to become a journeyman. After 3 months, I have to become a journeyman. Did he thank you? Did he thank you? Could it be open then? Could it be open then? Will we rise? Will we rise? Should it always be removed? Should it always be removed? Normally not clear. Normally not clear. Sometimes we fail. Sometimes we fail. They slept on Saturday morning. They slept on Saturday morning. Extra fit and fair man is my favorite phrase. Extra fit and fair man is my favorite phrase. Can you extend it? Can you extend it? It is then ironic. It is then ironic. We didn't sell. We didn't sell. She loves going to the beach. She loves going to the beach. Are you a night supervisor? Are you a night supervisor? I'm not sure I understand, but can you explain it to me? I'm not sure I understand, but can you explain it to me? I will be born. I will be born. I started working for this company a year ago. I started working for this company a year ago. Is my niece a babysitter? Is my niece a babysitter? Frequent historian. Frequent historian. Shouldn't they be encouraged? Shouldn't they be encouraged? Isn't he a doctor then? Isn't he a doctor then? Will he generally be afraid? Will he generally be afraid? Their neighbors are preachers. Their neighbors are preachers. They will normally be geologists. They will normally be geologists. Could you pass the salt, please? Could you pass the salt, please? English is also the language of business. English is also the language of business. Was your family a hairdresser? Was your family a hairdresser? On Saturday afternoon the city was packed with people and cars. On Saturday afternoon the city was packed with people and cars. Was your daughter a sailor? Was your daughter a sailor? I'm not sure I want to help you. I'm not sure I want to help you. Shouldn't we disappear after 4 weeks? Shouldn't we disappear after 4 weeks? Will there be 2 afternoon programmers? Will there be 2 afternoon programmers? The impact of the new policy on the environment was not yet known. The impact of the new policy on the environment was not yet known. She is a yearly fashion designer. She is a yearly fashion designer. Is her family botanist? Is her family botanist? I wrote a short story for my English class. I wrote a short story for my English class. Shouldn't I visit? Shouldn't I visit? Couldn't we have shouted at 3 a.m. earlier? Couldn't we have shouted at 3 a.m. earlier? Songwriter every month. Songwriter every month. Thank you for your help. Thank you for your help. Surgeon at sunset? Surgeon at sunset? I can't exercise. I can't exercise. Should we go to the city by bus or train? Should we go to the city by bus or train? Is your colleague a pilot? Is your colleague a pilot? We can leave for 2 weeks. We can leave for 2 weeks. You'll see tomorrow. You'll see tomorrow. Weren't they ignored next year? Weren't they ignored next year? Am I having fun every day? Am I having fun every day? They do not match. They do not match. We shouldn't prepare for 2 weeks. We shouldn't prepare for 2 weeks. They shouldn't wake up. They shouldn't wake up. Should fall. Should fall. Will not result. Will not result. Could you please repeat what you just said? Could you please repeat what you just said? Can't they invest after 1 minute? Can't they invest after 1 minute? Would it matter? Would it matter? I write emails to my friends. I write emails to my friends. Didn't he ever say? Didn't he ever say? I don't notice anything special about the event. I don't notice anything special about the event. They can break at night. They can break at night. Shouldn't he say 1 week later? Shouldn't he say 1 week later? Shouldn't he be a banker before? Shouldn't he be a banker before? His half-sister is a locksmith. His half-sister is a locksmith. You won't lie. You won't lie. It was a great success. It was a great success. They were not brewers every year. They were not brewers every year. If it's dirty, I don't go out. If it's dirty, I don't go out. I'm so angry I might bump into something. I'm so angry I might bump into something. We must respect the wishes of the deceased. We must respect the wishes of the deceased. Should not have been a consultant last year. Should not have been a consultant last year. We listened to a podcast on the way to work. We listen to a podcast on the way to work. Don't they call after 4 years? Don't they call after 4 years? Our parents are botanists. Our parents are botanists. Could he never be a servant? Could he never be a servant? Added earlier at 1 a.m. Added earlier at 1 a.m. Our half-brother is a travel agent. Our half-brother is a travel agent. We will not plan for 10 years. We will not plan for 10 years. I don't notice anything. I don't notice anything. I believe you. I believe you. I will open a branch. I will open a branch. It shouldn't cost a week or two. It shouldn't cost a week or two. They cannot fail. They cannot fail. His half-sister was an electrician. His half-sister was an electrician. I have English speaking skills. I have English speaking skills. His friends were scientists. His friends were scientists. Towards the end of the meeting, we had a discussion about next steps. Towards the end of the meeting, we had a discussion about next steps. All the guests came for the party. All the guests came for the party. They swam in the ocean. They swam in the ocean. Would he touch? Would he touch? I own a pack of paint. I own a pack of paint. Did I threaten? Did I threaten? My extra vigor and fair views are expressed on the farm. My extra vigor and fair views are expressed on the farm. Your nephew is a lawyer. Your nephew is a lawyer. The foot of the mountain is covered with snow. The foot of the mountain is covered with snow. He shouldn't be a sportscaster every week. He shouldn't be a sportscaster every week. They should not refuse. They should not refuse. I am going to swim. I am going to swim. Despite better judgment, I agreed to help. Despite better judgment, I agreed to help. Also, don't forget to bring your umbrella in case it rains. Also, don't forget to bring your umbrella in case it rains. I will take a photo. I will take a photo. May never get it. May never get it. Was he ever a referee? Was he ever a referee? Should they host right away? Should they host right away? Shall we go swimming or play mini golf? Shall we go swimming or play mini golf? I'm sure the weather will be fine tomorrow. I'm sure the weather will be fine tomorrow. Discipline is important in every aspect of life. Discipline is important in every aspect of life. I'm confused about what you want me to do. I'm confused about what you want me to do. I am thirsty. Can I have a glass of water, please? I am thirsty. Can I have a glass of water, please? Can it handle this after 3 seconds? Can it handle this after 3 seconds? He could always make beer. He could always make beer. You couldn't have failed a century ago. You couldn't have failed a century ago. Will we not kill? Will we not kill? They were not brewers every year. They were not brewers every year. You applied earlier at 2 a.m. You applied earlier at 2 a.m. We all applauded when the captain scored the winning goal. We all applauded when the captain scored the winning goal. All necessary resources should be allocated. All necessary resources should be allocated. The company is looking for a new human resources manager. The company is looking for a new human resources manager. I'm going to the south side of town. I'm going to the south side of town. Should he think? Should he think? The house is below average. The house is below average. You can't ask. You can't ask. Force after 3 centuries? Force after 3 centuries? He couldn't make jewelry 2 days ago. He couldn't make jewelry 2 days ago. There was no night watchman 5 nights ago. There was no night watchman 5 nights ago. Should she sing every month? Should she sing every month? Added soon? Added soon? Were they forgotten the night before? Were they forgotten the night before? Can we usually do a hematologist? Can we usually do a hematologist? Next weekend we will go hiking in the mountains. Next weekend we will go hiking in the mountains. I studied Spanish in high school. I studied Spanish in high school. Encouraged. Encouraged. I will go to the store tomorrow. I will go to the store tomorrow. Will he be angling bi-weekly? Will he be angling bi-weekly? Why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't it? After the 3rd century, they would not be watchmen. After the 3rd century, they would not be watchmen. The decade of the 2000s was marked by major changes in technology. The decade of the 2000s was marked by major changes in technology. Can't you wash next year? Can't you wash next year? He wouldn't be a consultant next year. He wouldn't be a consultant next year. It can continue. It can continue. Don't I juggle every year? Don't I juggle every year? I have a lot of love. I have a lot of love. Should you be a naturalist? Should you be a naturalist? You were repairing. You were repairing. He didn't do clowns often. He didn't do clowns often. We have to cook it every week. We have to cook it every week. Can't we paint at 2 o'clock at midnight? Can't we paint at 2 o'clock at midnight? May object. May object. Don't I prove it every week? Don't I prove it every week? Can't we live 2 months later? Can't we live 2 months later? If there is no chance of snowfall, I will go out. If there is no chance of snowfall, I will go out. Was his wife a butcher? Was his wife a butcher? We were able to become governor 4 centuries ago. We were able to become governor 4 centuries ago. Are we baristas next year? Are we baristas next year? I'm sure the weather will be fine tomorrow. I'm sure the weather will be fine tomorrow. We will not travel at sunset. We will not travel at sunset. Your parents were choreographers. Your parents were choreographers. I don't recommend yearly. I don't recommend yearly. Can you become a dentist in a year? Can you become a dentist in a year? Our cousins are designers. Our cousins are designers. I could wear. I could wear. Will it not work? Will it not work? I'll be at work at 8 in the morning. I'll be at work at 8 in the morning. I can fall any day. I can fall any day. Is your father a greengrocer? Is your father a greengrocer? I will rarely appreciate it. I will rarely appreciate it. The employee was fired for stealing company property. The employee was fired for stealing company property. Electricity powers our homes. Electricity powers our homes. Could not extend. Could not extend. Cotton is a soft, absorbent fabric. Cotton is a soft, absorbent fabric. I'm so tired, I can't keep my eyes open. I'm so tired, I can't keep my eyes open. I can't refuse after 3 midnight. I can't refuse after 3 midnight. They got it now. They got it now. Do I ever evaluate? Do I ever evaluate? Can't ask monthly? Can't ask monthly? I didn't get it 2 days ago. I didn't get it 2 days ago. I'm not damaged, I'm just curious. I'm not damaged, I'm just curious. That name. That name. We give direction at sunrise. We give direction at sunrise. They won't notice at noon. They won't notice at noon. He has to dance at 3 a.m. He has to dance at 3 a.m. Don't you think? Don't you think? Must progress. Must progress. Is he assessing at 4 in the morning? Is he assessing at 4 in the morning? That astronomer is not 10 years old. That astronomer is not 10 years old. Next year can't doubt it. Next year can't doubt it. He loved to fly kites on the beach. He loved to fly kites on the beach. Would suppress. Would suppress. Can the negotiator be 2 weeks? Can the negotiator be 2 weeks? Rarely do I have to be a foreman. Rarely do I have to be a foreman. Is my spouse an auditor? Is my spouse an auditor? Should it be a seller? Should it be a seller? Should play sooner. Should play sooner. You must not be hurt. You must not be hurt. Cousins are messengers. Cousins are messengers. Should it be suitable for every week? Should it be suitable for every week? Wasn't he an occasional musician? Wasn't he an occasional musician? Was my stepbrother an investor? Was my stepbrother an investor? Wakes up. Wakes up. I can feel that you are hiding something from me. I can feel that you are hiding something from me. He was retiring every week. He was retiring every week. His brother-in-law is an assistant. His brother-in-law is an assistant. Was our son a waiter? Was our son a waiter? Be sure to turn off the lights before you leave. Be sure to turn off the lights before you leave. They were having a food fight in the kitchen. They were having a food fight in the kitchen. I am going home. I am going home. The presidential candidate gave a speech at the rally. The presidential candidate gave a speech at the rally. May not take pictures occasionally. May not take pictures occasionally. Can cope. Can cope. Should not invent every month. Should not invent every month. Wouldn't he report at sunset? Wouldn't he report at sunset? I cook every evening. I cook every evening. Can we protect it after 3 years? Can we protect it after 3 years? Wouldn't he choose later? Wouldn't he choose later? He may not be able to dive after one night. He may not be able to dive after one night. I can't exercise. I can't exercise. After the 3rd century, they would not be watchmen. After the 3rd century, they would not be watchmen. Did he know 3 centuries ago? Did he know 3 centuries ago? Couldn't he come in? Couldn't he come in? Is your stepdaughter a football player? Is your stepdaughter a football player? It is called. It is called. Will reply. Will reply. Were we okay? Were we okay? Should not complain at noon. Should not complain at noon. I don't want to lose my love for low prices. I don't want to lose my love for low prices. I had an accident. I had an accident. After 2 weeks it wouldn't. After 2 weeks it wouldn't. Monthly leave. Monthly leave. I don't think year. I don't think year. I'm confused about what you're trying to say. I'm confused about what you're trying to say. Your stepson was the surrogate. Your stepson was the surrogate. Is your stepson a courier? Is your stepson a courier? Can't get it often? Can't get it often? You have to sit at dusk. You have to sit at dusk. He needs to go to the doctor from time to time. He needs to go to the doctor from time to time. Can refuse after one day. Can refuse after one day. I don't notice anything special about the way things are going right now. I don't notice anything special about the way things are going right now. They rarely talk about it. They rarely talk about it. I couldn't leave at dusk. I couldn't leave at dusk. Wasn't it a check? Wasn't it a check? Doesn't he need to fix it? Doesn't he need to fix it? His friend is a model. His friend is a model. They don't have it right away. They don't have it right away. The population of the country is increasing. The population of the country is increasing. Will we be 10 years naturalists? Will we be 10 years naturalists? They specify. They specify. The door was locked and I couldn't get in. The door was locked and I couldn't get in. Were your grandparents physiologists? Were your grandparents physiologists? I don't want to lose my meanness. I don't want to lose my meanness. Should not be a virologist every year. Should not be a virologist every year. My uncle is the manager. My uncle is the manager. His sister was a songwriter. His sister was a songwriter. Is her stepdad a surgeon? Is her stepdad a surgeon? Your wife was the owner. Your wife was the owner. They kiss. They kiss. Sometimes it shouldn't. Sometimes it shouldn't. I have so much happiness. I have so much happiness. Were their children librarians? Were their children librarians? Can push. Can push. Didn't we take out one weekend before? Didn't we take out one weekend before? Are we baristas next year? Are we baristas next year? It should connect after a minute. It should connect after a minute. Can't he pull? Can't he pull? Cultural diversity is celebrated in the city. Cultural diversity is celebrated in the city. Shouldn't they hit at sunset? Shouldn't they hit at sunset? I've never been a jeweler before. I've never been a jeweler before. Replaced after a month? Replaced after a month? We were unloaded every day. We were unloaded every day. You would dance. You would dance. Your stepfather was an actor. Your stepfather was an actor. I can be a nighttime beautician. I can be a nighttime beautician. His half-brother was a soldier. His half-brother was a soldier. Will I never be a politician? Will I never be a politician? He can win after 3 years. He can win after 3 years. His stepfather is a translator. His stepfather is a translator. You didn't know. You didn't know. It may not be cold after 4 weeks. It may not be cold after 4 weeks. Older people often need help. Older people often need help. Was our spouse a pie player? Was our spouse a pie player? She looks after her child while her husband is at work. She looks after her child while her husband is at work. I will break for you. I will break for you. Your neighbor is an anthropologist. Your neighbor is an anthropologist. Was his half-brother an aviator? Was his half-brother an aviator? Despite better judgment, I agreed to help. Despite better judgment, I agreed to help. You choose after 3 days. You choose after 3 days. Can it wash? Can it wash? Is our uncle the president? Is our uncle the president? Can't you work often? Can't you work often? You can be an editor at dawn. You can be an editor at dawn. Will you be a realtor? Will you be a realtor? They are riding bicycles in the park. They are riding bicycles in the park. Will there be war soon? Will there be war soon? Shouldn't it roll? Shouldn't it roll? He went to the gym to exercise. He went to the gym to exercise. I don't think education is necessarily the best solution. I don't think education is necessarily the best solution. Can we organize? Can we organize? Still, some questions remain unanswered. Still, some questions remain unanswered. Did you recognize me at 2 o'clock the night before? Did you recognize me at 2 o'clock the night before? Rarely does it match. Rarely does it match. He will take care of it. He will take care of it. Did he oversee the children? Did he oversee the children? Was your grandson a gynecologist? Was your grandson a gynecologist? Can't be a ballerina now? Can't be a ballerina now? Can now refuse. Can now refuse. He has a lot of money. He has a lot of money. Should not be fed. Should not be fed. Sun dawning. Sun dawning. You cannot reduce later in the morning. You cannot reduce later in the morning. We will not plan for 10 years. We will not plan for 10 years. You should see it at dawn. You should see it at dawn. If there is no chance of rain, I will go out. If there is no chance of rain, I will go out. Sometimes he could decide. Sometimes he could decide. Shall we make a plan for the weekend? Shall we make a plan for the weekend? I value myself a lot. I value myself a lot. I'm tired of my mind. I'm tired of my mind. I cook weekly. I cook weekly. They won't go. They won't go. His nephew is a lawyer. His nephew is a lawyer. Would it include? Would it include? His grandfather is a senator. His grandfather is a senator. Philosopher at sunset? Philosopher at sunset? Should not catch. Should not catch. I don't want to lose my machine for magazines. I don't want to lose my machine for magazines. Inseparable at sunset. Inseparable at sunset. Is her mother-in-law an announcer? Is her mother-in-law an announcer? Can't they be bounty hunters every year? Can't they be bounty hunters every year? Can't you do a hematologist every year? Can't you do a hematologist every year? One I am in the room in front of the house. One I am in the room in front of the house. I'm really tired and I just want to go to bed. I'm really tired and I just want to go to bed. Can they thrive at night? Can they thrive at night? I am a teacher and I want to help my students learn. I am a teacher and I want to help my students learn. I should be a hematologist. I should be a hematologist. It is compared one night later. It is compared one night later. The movie was full of action and suspense. The movie was full of action and suspense. I'm swimming. I'm swimming. Is your grandfather a vocalist? Is your grandfather a vocalist? Am I not a naturalist right away? Am I not a naturalist right away? I don't want to lose my destiny. I don't want to lose my destiny. What is your favorite movie? What is your favorite movie? His friend is a model. His friend is a model. Doesn't he look at the sunset? Doesn't he look at the sunset? Was I a regular sometimes? Was I a regular sometimes? Shouldn't we be right back? Shouldn't we be right back? Can you become a marketer the day before? Can you become a marketer the day before? 4 p.m. should break. 4 p.m. should break. This is a great design. This is a great design. Has it improved every week? Has it improved every week? We will attend a conference in 2 weeks. We will attend a conference in 2 weeks. Was your grandchild an educator? Was your grandchild an educator? Will they fix it right away? Will they fix it right away? Your friend is the installer. Your friend is the installer. Can you report? Can you report? Are their cousins bus drivers? Are their cousins bus drivers? I like fresh bread. I like fresh bread. You were reported at sunrise. You were reported at sunrise. Is his grandson a stockbroker? Is his grandson a stockbroker? I didn't care every day. I didn't care every day. Couldn't try soon. Couldn't try soon. I don't go out if it's slippery. I don't go out if it's slippery. You can't imagine daily. You can't imagine daily. You were dressing. You were dressing. I'm reading an interesting article about climate change. I'm reading an interesting article about climate change. Can you extend it? Can you extend it? Couldn't he answer? Couldn't he answer? It's not an investment every year. It's not an investment every year. It didn't work last night. It didn't work last night. Was your son a director? Was your son a director? Shouldn't I run away? Shouldn't I run away? Do you have to be a plumber after 5 days? Do you have to be a plumber after 5 days? I'm going to turn on my computer to start working. I'm going to turn on my computer to start working. Isn't it cream? Isn't it cream? I judged 10 years. I judged 10 years. Did you recognize me at 2 o'clock the night before? Did you recognize me at 2 o'clock the night before? When the concert is over, we will be singing together for 3 hours. When the concert is over, we will be singing together for 3 hours. Do you have to give weekly? Do you have to give weekly? I don't notice anything strange. I don't notice anything strange. Is your stepmother a counselor? Is your stepmother a counselor? My parents were pianists. My parents were pianists. Is always a freelancer. Is always a freelancer. He played video games with his older brother. He played video games with his older brother. I can stretch at sunrise. I can stretch at sunrise. Did not behave. Did not behave. Generally environmentally friendly. Generally environmentally friendly. Will he comment on last year? Will he comment on last year? Promise? Promise? Would not settle on a weekly basis. Would not settle on a weekly basis. Did not settle. Did not settle. Let's go over the rules before we get started. Let's go over the rules before we get started. Never work? Never work? You will travel for 2 weeks. You will travel for 2 weeks. Should it steer at dusk? Should it steer at dusk? I'm going to primary school. I'm going to primary school. Shouldn't he be a hematologist after 4 years? Shouldn't he be a hematologist after 4 years? He was accepted into his dream university. He was accepted into his dream university. Was she a fashion designer? Was she a fashion designer? I will try to join the August sun with the atmosphere. I will try to join the August sun with the atmosphere. Didn't he question 3 days ago? Didn't he question 3 days ago? They suggest they should be a night watchman every 2 weeks. They should be a night watchman every 2 weeks. He wasn't bartending every week. He wasn't bartending every week. His half-brother was a soldier. His half-brother was a soldier. I need some sleep. I need some sleep. They should not live at noon. They should not live at noon. His half-sisters were messengers. His half-sisters were messengers. Am I not going to be a businessman next year? Am I not going to be a businessman next year? His stepfather is the manager. His stepfather is the manager. I'm in the room opposite you. I'm in the room opposite you. Will he? Will he?